Anyway, enough of this. We'll pick up some of those themes in later weeks. Correspondence at kermodeandmayo.com. Tell us about something else that's brand new and out and we might be interested in.
The Five Devils, which is the new film from director and co-writer Léa Mysius, who is best known for 2017's Ava. She co-wrote the film with Paul Guillaume, who is the cinematographer. It stars Adele Exarchopoulos, who is probably best known for rising to fame with Blue is the Warmest Colour, for which she shared the Palme d'Or. If you remember, when Blue is the Warmest Colour won the Palme d'Or, the Cannes jury said that they recognised in the honour the two lead actresses, Léa Seydoux and Adele Exarchopoulos, which was a really big thing because the Palme d'Or is, traditionally it's the director. So she's technically the youngest person to be a Palme d'Or winner. She plays Joanne, whose child Vicky, played by Sally Dramé, has an uncanny gift of smell. Something which, meaning she can not she smells. She has an uncanny gift of being able to smell, like perfume. Something which both amazes and alarms her mother. Here is a clip.
Tu vois rien?
Non.
Alors est-ce que là tu me sens?
T'es à 2 mètres.
Alors compte jusqu'à 20 et viens me chercher.
Ok. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
So what she's doing
18.
is 19,
20.
20.
And so that's like a hide and seek, and the child is blindfolded.
Yes, so it always looked like a bird box, but yes, and the child can then absolutely find her mother through the sense of smell. It then turns out that actually what she does is she captures smells in jars. She can reproduce the smells that she encounters, but she also, the sense of smell becomes a way of doing what appears to be kind of astrally projecting or time traveling back and forth through events past and present. So there's a kind of fantastic, magical, realist element to what's going on. At the beginning of the film, when her father, near the beginning of the film, her father's sister reappears. She's been incarcerated, and she comes back and she casts a very long shadow, or perhaps spell, or actually, weirdly, in the context of this particular narrative, smell, in which the past and present are all interweaving because of the way in which she's travelling through these different realities. The film played at the Directors' Fortnight in Cannes last year, got a 5-minute standing ovation. I would say once again that whenever one reads this, it always sounds astonishing, but you have to understand that standing ovations at Cannes are not uncommon, nor indeed is being booed off the screen uncommon. People's reactions at Cannes are not the reactions of normal, sane people.
So why did it? Is that just they know that that's customary?
Yeah, I mean, it partly comes down to what I've always said about film festivals, is that if you take a review of something from a film festival, you have to always take into account the circumstances under which that review was filed. If you're working a film festival like Cannes, which is vast, I mean, it's a huge festival, you are seeing films back to back to back to back to back. And so what happens is people's reactions start to become more extreme, partly because people are looking for the new thing, or they're looking to hate that. The worst thing you can do is spend 3 hours, 2 hours, 90 minutes watching a film, and somebody says, "What do you think?" And it's all right. That's not the reaction. The reaction is, as famously, as I keep citing, the response to Kids, when Kids, the Larry Clark film, played at Cannes in the 90s. And it played in the Salle de Bazin, which is one of the smaller screening rooms. But there was this thing about it was the hot ticket at the festival. And the door to the screening room got broken by the rush of people trying to get into the film. And then the reviews all came out, and the reviews were absolutely full of, hot air and hyperbole. And the reason was, it was nothing to do with the film. The film itself was actually fairly unremarkable. It was that people were reviewing the fact that they were in the room. So when I say something got a 5-minute standing ovation, it doesn't mean, that's nonsense. It doesn't stand for anything. But it's not quite as overwhelming as perhaps it could seem. I've read a couple of reviews of this, and some of these were reviews that came when the film played at Cannes, which compared the narrative to something that M. Night Shyamalan might have come up with, the sort of the time traveling. I mean, I think that's completely misjudged. I understand why that comparison has been made. I think a closer comparison would be with something like Regano Leone's I Am Not a Witch, which is technically a Welsh film, although obviously not set in Wales, but which has that similar kind of thing about a young child with abilities which appear to be magical, but are also kind of, maybe they're imaginary, maybe they're fantastical, maybe the story is absolutely about projection. It doesn't work all the time. Some bits of it work better than other bits, and there is a sense that it starts to fall apart. But there is something going on, and I've said this before. Any film that kind of, you're looking at it and you're thinking, I can't quite put my finger on why this is slightly getting under my skin. But there is something going on in the construction of the story, and maybe about in the way in the juxtaposition of images. The fact that you have to, you have to take an imaginative leap of faith rather than just going, oh, don't be silly. So it's definitely not for everybody. It's definitely the kind of film that would get a 5-minute standing ovation at a festival. But it's also, there is something in it which is working. I think it's very flawed. I think it's not for everybody, and I think some people will just watch it and be exasperated. But it is adventurous and it is aiming high. It's called The Five Devils.
Okay, so if you are the kind of person that would stand up and applaud at a film festival, maybe.
Yes, or even the kind of person who would boo loudly or moo, or it's, like I said,
I would never do that.
No, but you've never done 2 weeks at a film festival.
I still don't know if I'd boo. If I didn't like it, I'd just be grumpy about it.
Yes, and I understand that entirely, but all I would say is I have seen film festivals turn rational people into animals. I mean, one of the reasons that I don't like Cannes at all, and one of the reasons that I have a problem with a lot of film festivals, is that they can bring out the worst in people's risk, but people are just tired and rattled and, a bit fried. Having said that, there are other people who do it much better. I mean, Wendy Ide, for example, who I think is brilliant. She can see 10 films back to back in a film festival and have Robbie Collin of This Parish is very good at it. I'm not. I don't have any ability to do that at all.
You made me slightly nervous for the first night of Itch the Opera at the end of July, because opera crowds sometimes they get
opera crowds do. But I remember being my dad took me to see an opera. My dad's no longer with us, but one of the things that he really liked opera. He took me to see Akhenaten, the Philip Glass, which I just loved, and I ended up seeing 3 times. But he took me to see, I think it may have been a Ken Russell. An opera that maybe... Anyway, I remember that at the end of it, the crowd booed. It was like, what are they doing? And he said, oh, yeah, this is what they do. Really? And then the musical director, somebody came on stage and took a bow to boos.
Well, I'm not having any of that.
You're not having any of that?
If you're going to come to the first night, then please... Be respectful.
Yes.
There's a lot of stressed people. Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed making it. While you're here, check out all the other videos because they're cool too, aren't they?
Yeah, and if you want to keep up to date with everything Kermode and Mayo's take, then check out our social channels.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
I mean, I would. I have done.
Excellent.